Hello. So, I'm just here to do a quick intro. I probably should have grabbed the books first. Hold on. Okay, let's try that again. Hi. So, I have decided that this year I'm taking part in the Popsugar reading challenge, and I've been doing the prompts on and off without realizing. I decided to do this vlog where I focus on some of the harder prompts that I won't be able to get done through the stuff I normally read. So I have picked 6 of the harder Popsugar prompts to try and complete in this video so that I can get them ticked off. So the first one is a book featuring the mob. It can be real or fictional. For that, I've gone with The Devil She Knows by Alexander Bellafleur. This, I have been told, does feature the mob, because that's who the devil works for, I think. But yeah, this one is going to fit that prompt. And then the next one that I have is a character who runs a marathon. So I've simply gone with Gracie Jenkins Runs a Marathon by Penny Mirren. This one is about a 72-year-old woman, and she runs a marathon, essentially. Then the next one that I have is a book that takes place on a bachelorette trip. For that I have One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. I decided to go with a thriller for this one because I've got such an array of genres in here. But yeah, the ones that struck my interest were the thrillers, and I landed on this one. This is an author that I haven't read from before, but I'm intrigued to know how her writing is and whether I like it. And then the last 3, these are the ones that I got out from the library. This next one is a book that features Pilates. For that I have When I Kill You by B.A. Paris. Now, I own another one of B.A. Paris's books, which I did enjoy. So, hopefully I like this one as well, because I did like another one of theirs. I'll get into what these are about when I get into their segment in this video. The next one that I have is a book that features postmortem depression. For that I have The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. Again, this one is a thriller, but I was more intrigued by this one than the ones that actually focus on it in a different way. So yeah, I've decided to go with this one. And then the last one that I have for this video is a book featuring a book club. For that I've picked up The Wartime Book Club by Kate Thompson. This is bigger than I thought, but the rest of them I'll probably read quite quick so that I can focus on the big one. I'll probably read this one in installments spattered throughout the other segments of this. But yeah, this one is about a book, obviously a book club set during wartime. So this is my TBR for this video. And I will check back in when I'm picking up one of these. Bye!
Hello. So, I honestly don't know how long I'm going to have to get this update done before I get interrupted. The cat is Birdie is currently eating her dinner, but I can't guarantee how long she'll be at the bowl. She may come in and be annoying a bit later while I'm doing this update. But I have finished the first book for this video, which is Gracie Jenkins Runs a Marathon by Penny Mirren. I really enjoyed this one. This one is essentially about Gracie Jenkins, and she decides to take her niece's place in the marathon after she gets injured and can't do it. Yeah, so at 72 years of age, she decides to take part in the London Marathon. And she becomes this big national story, and I think probably international as well. She's doing it to raise money for Alzheimer's, which is something that her brother-in-law suffered from and then eventually died from. So yeah, she's raising. It's essentially what her niece was raising money for, and she decides to simply do everything else the same, but she simply just takes part instead of her niece. And it's also about her like reconnecting with her sister, and about her finding these new friends and this purpose for herself, which I like. I have nothing wrong. I wouldn't do it because I'm too old. I wouldn't do it because I have shit knees and a messed up ankle. So I physically wouldn't be able to, because even though I'm only 30, I have the knees and ankle of someone like twice my age, probably more. But yeah, so I wouldn't be able to do it because I physically wouldn't be able to. Nothing to do with age. It's to do with my body. It's to do with me having two knees and a bummed up ankle. But yeah, I ended up giving this. I was originally going to give it 4 stars. I may lower it down to 3.5, but I'm tossing up. It's either going to be 3.5 or a 4, because it was quite a good book and quite a good story. Alright, so like clockwork, here is Missy Moo to make her presence known. Luckily, I was nearly done with the update anyway. Yeah, so here is Missy Moo to make her presence known in this video. You're going to say hi to the people? No? Okay. I'd pick her up, but she doesn't like being picked up, and I don't want to be attacked. So she'll just be in. I'll just move over so that she's in the shot while I do the last bit of this update. Yeah, so I think I was talking about my rating. Yeah, so like I was saying, this is either going to be a 3.5 or a 4. It's bouncing up between those two. I was originally thinking it was a 4 because of like the story as a whole and Gracie as a character and the journey she goes on. But yeah, it may also be a 3.5. I haven't quite finalized that. Alright, that is it for this update. Missy Moo wants my attention, so I'm going to cut it here, and I will be back when I have read the next book. Yeah, I know. Say bye to the people. Alright, bye. Hello. So, I have finished another book, When I Kill You by B.A. Paris. I have read a B.A. Paris before, which I really enjoyed. This one, I'm giving a 3. It was fine, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking, and yeah, I really liked the concept of the other one that I read, Behind Closed Doors, a bit better. But this one follows Elle, or Nell. Yeah, well, okay, that she's kind of both. Basically, Nell has this sense that she's being stalked by someone, and we also learn that she has a past where she caused a lot of trouble. She witnessed a murder, and then she stalked the person who she was convinced had done it. And that leads to the death of this man, and his son wanting to kill her. He eventually gets arrested, and so she thinks that the person stalking her in the present day, when she's changed her identity and moved on, she thinks that it is the same guy from before. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but let's just say the twist that I predicted would have been a lot more interesting than the twist that we got. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with the twist that came from this. And so it has to sit at a 3. Oh, and right on cue. Hello, Miss Birdie. Yeah, so I am giving this a 3. It was, yeah, like I said, it was fine. Wasn't anything spectacular. And it can go back to the library and hopefully it'll do something for someone else. Sorry, I've been gone all day, so Miss Birdie is trying to get attention while she has me. Anyway, that was it for this update. But this does tick off the Popsugar prompt of character does Pilates. It's not obvious in here, but it's mentioned a few times it does Pilates, so it does count. And we can move on to the next book for this video. Hello! So I have decided to DNF the School for Good Mothers. I got to page 193 and decided I couldn't do it anymore. This one's essentially about Frida, and she is deemed an unfit mother and is sent to this School for Good Mothers, where they learn what is appropriate and how to mother their kids properly. Yeah, it started off really really pissing me off, and then it just got boring. If it was a thriller, it could have at least been fun. Yeah, it could have at least felt a bit more fun. But this one was quite dull. Yeah, it started off pissing me off, and then it got dull. So yeah, this one's a DNF. But I am still counting it for the postmodern depression prompt for Popsugar. And yeah, overall, not a good experience reading this. So I have one book left in this channel for this video. And, oh no, sorry, I have 2 books left. Miscounted my head. Anyway, I will be back when I'm picking up the next one. Bye. Ow, claws. Ow, claws. You were still so cute. But you gotta watch your claws. Okay, so I'm gonna film this on my phone because someone is lying on the couch and I don't want to make her move, so you're getting my about halfway point update of this book from the couch with Birdie in the background, but you can't see her. Anyway, this book is about this girl Sam. She gets dumped by her fiance, or not her fiance. She proposes to this woman. This book opens with Sam proposing to her girlfriend and her girlfriend breaking up with her. Then on her way home, she goes into this elevator and meets Daphne, who is this demon, and she promises to help her get all her dreams come true. It's basically you get 6 wishes, and once all these 6 wishes are cast, I get your soul. And yeah, so she's made 2 wishes so far, and they've both gone wrong in different ways. But I am really enjoying this. It's a fun story. Daphne is fun. Yeah. Daphne's fun. Sam's a mess. But yeah, I really am enjoying this. I think it won't be anything less than a 4-star. I know that for sure. Depending on how the second half goes, it may even be a 5. We'll see what happens. Alright? Bye.
Hello. So we're back in the spot where I've done a lot of these clips to give my final thoughts on The Devil She Knows by Alexandria Bellafleur. I loved this so much. I gave it 5 stars. I could fault nothing with it, and I like the way that this book ended. Like, it wasn't like the traditional sense. Sam got Daphne out of her deal in a way that wrapped up the story nicely and didn't ruin anything. So yeah, 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. And this fits the Popsugar prompt of a book featuring a mob. It wasn't in here for long, but one of her wishes caused Sam to be a mafia boss, so that counts. We're going with it. So I have 2 more books that I was planning to read 2 more books for this video. One of the Girls by Lucy Clark and The Wartime Book Club. I will still read this one, but this one is how long? Damn it. Okay. Yeah. Why? Hold on. Okay, so I don't even know. There's so much like extra at the back of this. I don't actually know how many I don't actually know how many pages this. Okay, so with the author's note and everything. Okay, so it's 430 pages. Okay, actually, it's not that bad. I thought it was longer than that, but most of these pages are just extras. The story itself actually stops on 430. So scratch that. We should be right. I thought it was going to be longer than that. I didn't know if I'd have time. But yeah, so I have 2 more books to read for this one. One of the Girls by Lucy Clark for Bachelorette Trip, and The Wartime Book Club for, obviously, book about a book club. It will probably take me on and off throughout the rest of the month to get these finished, because I'm a bit of a slow mover this month, and I have some other books that I need to read as well. So I will get to these, but I can't guarantee how quickly I'll get to these. Alright. Bye. Hello. So, I have done a quick book change for the book with the book club, because a book that I was planning to read in June has a book club in it, so I just read it for this month. So I picked up Isn't It Obvious by Rachel Rania Katz. This pretty much gave me You've Got Mail vibes. You know that movie with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks where they hate each other in real life, but they fall in love through anonymous screen names online, and then they eventually find out about each other. Yeah, that's essentially what I got from this. Yeah, that's essentially what this story was. You have these 2 people, Yale and Ravi, and online she goes by Elle and he goes by his actual first name, which is Kevin. Yeah, in real life he goes by his middle name, which is Ravi, but in the email that he's doing with Yale, aka Elle, he's Kevin. Yeah, so the reason that she hates him is, I'll admit, a little petty. She essentially doesn't like him after she uses his window to sneak out. Sorry, he uses her window to sneak out after having a one-night stand with her roommate and best friend. And he doesn't even say goodbye. He just sneaks out the window. So she holds this. So that's the main reason why she doesn't like him. And I feel it's a little petty. I mean, I get feeling annoyed on your friend's behalf, but yeah, I feel like it was a petty reason to really not to dislike him. Anyway, yeah, so that's what causes the dislike in real life. And as Elle and Kevin, Elle is looking for this editor for her podcast, and she gets an email from Kevin. And so it starts off as like a professional, her looking for an editor for her podcast, and him kind of volunteering to do it. And they end up opening up to each other through their anonymous emails and getting to know each other quite a bit through that. And yeah, so that's the main like premise of them. And the book club part comes in because on top of everything else, Yale also runs a queer book club. And when she needs to volunteer, who should show up but the person she's made her sworn enemy, Ravi. So they're spending a lot of time in person together, and they're also so she's hating him in real life, but falling in love with this anonymous trade name. And eventually he puts the dots together and finds out that she is Elle. And just like in You've Got Mail, he finds out first, and then she eventually finds out the truth. And yeah, so that's essentially what this book was. I'm giving it a 4. The reason I'm giving it a 4 is because there was a lot of like miscommunication towards the end once they do find out the truth. Like, she misunderstands something he says, and he doesn't have it in him to correct her and say what he actually meant. So yeah, the fact that these are two adults and they can't have a simple conversation, I gave it 4. Yeah, so overall this was a good read, and I can tick off the Popsugar prompt of book club. So that leaves me with one more book to read for this video, which is One of the Girls by Lucy Clark for Bachelorette Trip. I don't know when I'll get to this, but I should get to it soon because it is miserable weather. So I'm probably going to be spending the whole weekend just reading and doing nothing. But I will catch you when I pick up this book. Bye!
Hello. So we are going to ignore the fact that I have a sleep mask on my head and I look awful. But I finally finished the last book for this challenge, which is One of the Girls by Lucy Clark, which is a book set during a bachelorette trip. I mean, yes, it's called a hen party, but that's what it's called. But that's what those are called in England, so I'm still counting it. This one, I feel like what it promised isn't what it delivered. This book is about this woman, Lexi. She's getting married. So her and her friends, Bella, Robin, Bella's girlfriend, Fen, and this new girl that she met called Anna. Oh, and her sister-in-law, Eleanor. They're all on the hen party together. And they all have something to do with each other. They all have like some secret that they've been keeping. And a lot of them overlap with each other. Like, Eleanor's fiance died because of a medical mistake. by a nurse at the hospital. And it turns out that I'm going to put spoilers in. I know it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't matter. You could just skip them if you want. But anyway, yeah. It turns out that the nurse that accidentally killed Eleanor's fiance is Bella, who was on this trip. And it also turns out that Anna is, like, has some past knowledge of Lexi and her fiance named Ed. And she has wormed her way into Lexi's life as a way to see Lexi's fiance again. Because it turns out that Lexi's fiance Ed is the father of Anna's child. And yeah, so the murder that was promised, or the death that was promised, didn't happen until like page 403 out of a book that was like 430 pages total. And it only really lasted for like, at the most, 10 pages. And then we just get a flash forward to like a happily ever after 16 months later. Yeah, so I felt a bit ripped off that this promised me like a thriller, like someone isn't going to get out of this trip alive. And then the person who, again, I'm going to just do spoilers. I will put on the screen when there's spoilers. It turns out that the person who did die isn't the person who I just spent 400 pages with. It is essentially Lexi's fiance dies, and because it turns out he was a bad person, but the fact that that was who dies after I spent no time with him for most of this book feels a little like a ripoff. Not gonna lie. So I did end up giving this a 3. I am giving this a 3.5 because I was intrigued by the story as a whole. I just feel, if it had done the death differently and made it someone who I actually had a connection to, then I would have rated it higher. But I'm giving it probably a 3.5. I'm giving it a 3.5 because while I liked the build-up of the character builds, I just feel like what was promised wasn't 100% what was delivered. And the fact that it waited that long to actually do it, and then it was just glossed over. So yeah, I'm giving this a 3. And on that note, this video is over. So I can finally move on to starting my June videos. And I will see you guys in whatever I put up next. Bye!